Peter Jackson looked out the window and saw that the road was covered with a thin layer of ice that the road workers had not yet sprinkled with salt. "Well, I hope I will be able to do it," the man said to himself and began to dress. The fact was that his wife Tina asked him to go to the grocery store. When he started the car and heard the sound of the engine, Peter smiled. His Chevrolet was old, but never let the old man down. He drove out of the garage and headed for the nearest shop. Mr. Jackson wanted to turn on the radio, so he was distracted for just a second, but because of this, he didn't have time to notice the danger that appeared at the side of the car. It was a shiny new Porsche. His car swerved to the side and crashed into a luxury Jeep. There was a squeal of brakes and the clank of iron. After recovering from the shock, the old man got out of the Chevrolet and walked to the Porsche to check the damage. There was a huge, deep scratch on the left wing. "Well, that's all. The end of my quiet life. Now we'll pay for the repair of this car for the rest of my life," Peter thought. At that moment, a middle-aged man in an expensive suit got out of the Porsche and began to inspect the damage. He then asked for Mr. Jackson's documents and took a picture of the crash site with his phone. "Well, go home and wait for the guests," he said the old man in an icy tone, got into the Porsche and left. With tears in his eyes, Peter drove back home. He told his wife what had happened. The next 2 days, the couple spent in nervous tension. They were waiting for the guests, realizing that in order to pay them off, they would probably have to sell the house. The old people lived very modestly and had no savings. No one could help them because their only son Andrew died 20 years ago. He was a helicopter pilot and crashed in Alaska. Then one evening there was a loud knock on the door. Peter immediately recognized the man who was standing in the doorway. It was the same Porsche driver. He entered the house and began to look around. "Well, Andrew, here we are. I've been looking for you for so long," he said, looking at the photo of the Jackson's son. "Did you know Andrew?" Peter asked in surprise. "He was my best friend," the man replied and told his story. His name was Ben Stevens, and he also worked as a pilot in Alaska a few years ago. There he met Andrew, and the young people immediately became friends. On that ill-fated day, they were flying together, and Ben managed to survive the accident, only thanks to Andrew. After spending several months in the hospital, the man recovered, but he had to end his pilot career. He went into business, but he had never forgotten about the dead friend, thanks to whom he remained alive. He tried to find Andrew's parents, but knew little about them, so his attempts were unsuccessful. Only the accident helped him finally meet the Jacksons. Upon hearing this story, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson started crying and hugged Ben. Since then, the man began to help them and take care of them as if they were his own parents.